So true.
And we should be live.
Perfect. I just got done making my
Oh,
drink.
Perfect. What are we
good
drinking
timing.
today?
We are drinking some Crown Royal Peach and some orange juice. I don't know what to call it. I'm a lazy bartender today.
Well, I'm doing. I must say, the gin that I made, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It was like do-it-yourself kit for gin to brew it yourself, and
Nice.
it's better than expected.
I want to make
Wait, are we
mead.
actually live though? Is this how we're
Yeah,
starting?
That's normal. That's normal.
yeah. Like I would love to make mead, but I don't have the room here to make mead.
Anyways, welcome, welcome. I don't know, fucking care. Switch 2, some and shit like that. Pretty expensive, am I right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Mm,
it's
you
fucking
are
a whole
right.
lot more expensive. A whole lot more expensive here.
Yeah.
So, what would be the cheaper
I mean, do we
option?
want to start with the?
Go ahead.
Wait, sorry. What'd you say, Vex?
I said, what would be the cheaper option at this point? Importing it from Japan with one of those like middleman companies, or buying it here in America?
I think which
Honestly, probably still buy it, just because the importing will still include
you
those
still need
tariff
to pay the
prices.
tariffs in the import. Yes, that's right. I think the cheapest way would be like to get, and you cannot buy American released games. You will need to import even your physical games from Japan if you do that. So I think the best way would be to buy an European one.
Well,
Gotcha.
the cheapest way would be to like just go move to Japan and just use the Japanese version, like learn Japanese. That would actively be cheaper.
You know what? I hate that you're not wrong.
Okay, but I mean,
Uh,
do we want to start with like the price points, or should we talk about like the games?
I guess we can bounce around this direct for a little bit because I like the price is very much of concern for everything included, but I kind of like the idea of talking about the games list because unlike a prepared host, because I'm not the one streaming it today, I did not pull up that. So
I mean, we will only talk. I don't think we should talk about all the games because let's be real. For most games, we can't even say anything relevant.
oh no, for sure. Uh, let's
Uh,
go off the Nintendo Switch 2 list that they have on their website because it's the most relevant.
yeah.
Okay, you
I,
guys can pull that.
So Mario Kart World is like their top like trending thing to market with this. They don't have a like 3D Mario ready, I guess.
No, that's
yeah.
probably being saved for a later time. I'm thinking that that's going to be used potentially either to promote the next movie, which is coming in 2026. So it could be a holiday title, or it's just going to come out like next year around the time of the movie and have its sales boosted by said movie. I think that's the plan for the next big 3D Mario. And also because we're having like Donkey Kong, I think being worked by those teams from the looks of it, but we'll get to that when we get to DK.
So for Mario Kart World, like I think it looks fantastic. I love the idea of like all these new characters, like the fucking cow of all things is hilarious to me. Uh, but I genuinely wonder why this is being used as like their leading game because I don't think they've done that outside of like the SNES.
I mean, I think the answer is just like Mario Kart 8 like surpassed expectations in sales. That was like a Wii U title, but it's still one of the best selling Switch titles, just with all the DLC and everything that they added.
That's fair. Including all that was definitely a big help. And I think a lot of it was also like the soft launch. You know, there wasn't a lot of like heat in those titles for the original Switch other than Zelda.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the launch lineup, the Switch 2 is much better. But yeah, I think the other thing with Mario Kart World that I wanted to like bring up is that there's a lot they added, like the open world kind of aspect, or I guess sandbox, whatever we're calling it, where you can then travel between courses. Although so far it's looked kind of empty between courses, so it might be potentially more of a scenic thing than anything. But it also feels like from the gameplay previews, because some journalists have been going in getting hands-on previews. It seems like they removed some things as well, like the kart customization of Mario Kart 8, which that I found a little disappointing personally. Mostly because like Sonic is also having like a kart racer coming out this year, and it feels like a much more like refined version of what Mario Kart 8 was. But Mario Kart 9 seems to be kind of doing its own thing, and that includes like removing old stuff. But I will admit the fact that Mario Kart got to rail grinding before we did is extremely ironic.
Yeah, I don't find it too concerning because they always play around with the features in the Mario Kart games. Like look to Double Dash, it was experimental as hell for the time, and it's widely regarded as the best Mario Kart out there. It's also my personal favorite, but I'm curious to see like how they're going to continue utilizing this open world or pseudo open world sandboxy thing that they're doing with a lot of their titles now. Because it seems like with Zelda, it's hit or miss, right? And like Pokemon's doing it now with like the Pokemon out in the world. They've been doing this since like Sword and Shield, and I'm genuinely curious if they're going to continue down this trend as they get better hardware. How much more it's going to expand to? Will it expand to like say your Elden Ring living world, or will it just end up being like a gimmick in some of their titles? Because it is Nintendo after all.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out more once that Mario Kart Direct comes out. I think that's going to be in a couple of days, sometime this week. I'll be honest, like, as cool as Mario Kart looks, I really don't think it's worth the price of entry. Because I guess, I know we said we'll talk about prices maybe a little later, but this game, the MSRP is $80, and Doug Bowser, like I just saw online that he had an interview with the Washington Post, and he justified it with the concept of variable pricing, which the TLDR is like we can just set the price however we want to set the price based on what we've done and what we think the game is worth. So basically they charge $80. I think people will pay $80, and I think people will in fact pay $80. That being said, I don't think I will be paying $80, so yeah. Mario Kart is fun to play. I have good memories with like Double Dash with my little brother, but I am not thinking this will be the launch title for me specifically. But it's a good one to start off the generation. So yeah, it's not a bad pick.
Yeah, like absolutely. And if we think about it, like it's also going to be bundled in with one version of the Switch. So that'll probably be how they get a lot of their sales, like they did with Wii Sports being the best-selling game of all time. But it's still one of the. You're right. Like this does not look $80 worth it to me.
It I wouldn't even say it's $80 worth. It's the bigger problem is like the $90 price that they have on physical games. That is even more egregious than the $80 one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The thing is though that $90, there's not really a good source for that information. Like I think that was like a bit of misinformation.
In Germany it's literally at 90 and $80 difference. It is literally in Germany like that. I've currently
okay, never
have the
mind.
pre-orders
Maybe
open.
that's why people got confused.
Yeah, of course, you need to look at regional differences. But
How
the
much
Mario
is
Kart
that?
World
That's
is
euro,
$90.
I assume, right?
Yes,
Okay. Do you know how much that converts into like American dollars for our
literally
reference?
$90. It's almost 1-to-1 nowadays.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that's just horrible. Okay, well, yeah, then it's definitely not worth that. I mean, in America, we really don't have like differences between physical and digital. And I think that's mostly due to lobbying from the physical game stores that exist, because if price differences existed, then that would hurt their sales even more. But, with Nintendo's current strategy of not even having the full game, which we'll talk about with some other titles, it's just going to be more digital anyway.
Yeah, just how they are going to handle physical releases from now on is horrible. But those are just a key to download it from the App Store anyways. It's the death of physical media, in other words. What is happening as of now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been
trending that way for a long time.
Yeah, it's been trending, but this is really the start of it.
Yeah, because when Nintendo does something, everybody else copies it.
Yeah.
As much as I
Yeah.
hate to give Nintendo credit for anything, they do tend to be the trendsetters. But Donkey Kong
Yeah,
looks
because even
phenomenal.
Sony.
Donkey Kong looks
yeah.
beautiful.
Honestly, I'm surprised that DK is coming out that soon afterwards. Because when I saw it on the trailer, I was thinking, okay, so Mario Kart's gonna be their launch title in June, and then Donkey Kong will be like fall, maybe the holiday title. But now it's coming in July,
Right.
very soon afterwards.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, it's cheaper than Mario Kart as well, despite it looking like an open sandbox platformer, kind of like Mario Odyssey and Sonic Frontiers. So I'm not sure why that one is not as expensive as the kart racer. That's I think my weird little I don't know how to say red flag, maybe orange flag, where it's like, okay, the game looks kind of cool, and if we've seen what sandbox platformers can do, and with DK that looks like it'll be really good, but it feels like if that's the price they're setting, it's going to be a little bit more of a budget title. And if Mario Kart World was like the exception to the rule, and like everything else was 70, then I wouldn't really be bringing up this point. I would just be like, okay, they're just like overcharging Mario Kart just because they feel like they could. But if you look at like some of the other prices for the Switch 2 Enhanced Editions, most of them round to $80, I think, except Breath of the Wild, which I think probably just because it's like a much older title on the Wii U that's effectively getting ported like 2 generations later.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza also costs sorry to fall you to that. But games also cost $80 with Donkey Kong.
Wait, in Germany?
Yeah, yes. I'm looking up the prices. So it's literally $80, the same as Mario Kart.
Oh, that's interesting. Because yeah, in MSRP here it's cheaper. Okay, so yeah, international pricing never made much sense to me. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what to make of that then. But yeah, you guys can keep talking about DK. I don't think I have too many more thoughts other than
no.
It looks kind of promising, but I'm very like still adjusting to the new model of DK.
It looks great, and this is everything I can say about it. I've never played DK. I'm not really that interested in it myself. It looks great, and that's it. That's everything that I can say.
It looks like it's gonna be a fun title. Like, and Donkey Kong's always been like that sweet middle ground for Nintendo. Not really the individual mascot, but it's still one of the most recognizable characters for them. I find it interesting, like Party Jams, you were saying. The sliding scale for prices is definitely weirding me out here. But it seems like it's gonna be a global price internationally. I don't get anything that's going on in this generation so far. But I will say seeing pants on Donkey Kong is unnerving.
You know what's funny is the meme I've been seeing with that, like with Donkey Kong wearing pants, and I think the monkey also wearing clothes now, is that it's all stemmed from like this old Sonic Twitter's thing where Shadow was like telling the monkey mascot of Super Monkey Ball, he's like, you guys need to start wearing pants, what is wrong? And it was just supposed to be an ironic joke how the Sonic characters also like don't wear clothes. But now that they're wearing pants, it's like, well, I guess they listen to Shadow.
Everybody listens to Shadow. He's a friend.
That's true. I want to see more from this game to see why it's cheaper here. That's the only thing, and I doubt we'll fucking get that at this point because it's like 4 or 5 months from launch.
I also want to say, while the games, of course, both of Mario Kart and DK look good, one thing I find weird is that for a lot of people I'm seeing online that they're seeing these games as like extremely ambitious in kind of pushing the genre of those games. But to me, I feel like DK is just kind of like adapting a formula that Odyssey did, but you know, for Donkey Kong, and Mario Kart is just kind of like tweaking some stuff from Mario Kart 8. I don't really see them as like huge like pushes, and I don't think they need to be by any means. So I guess I was just kind of curious to takes other than myself of what you guys think about
You
these
just
games
gotta
within their
sit.
respective franchises.
You just gotta sit there and realize, like, Nintendo fans, and I say this as somebody that owns like every console known to mankind, other than like a Series X, because why do I need that as a PC gamer? I fucking think that the target audience for the Nintendo consoles is children, and they haven't seen anything overly groundbreaking, like from generation to generation. Whereas like us who play on, say, PC or like a more advanced console like a PS5, we get to see these shifts in the genres at a quicker pace.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think
that's fair.
nothing of
I
what
saw
they
the
have
open world
shown.
Mario Kart.
Continue.
Oh, all I was gonna say was like with Mario Kart, like the open world stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. It's like Forza, but now in Mario Kart. That's neat. But everyone else was just like blown away to like the point where it's like, oh my god, no other kart racer's done this. It's like, wait, now
That's a
they
fucking
have.
lie.
What?
Like kind of open world kart racer was the Crash Bandicoot racer for PlayStation 1. In comparison.
That's good to know. I didn't grow up on PlayStation. Good to know.
Yeah, I think the problem is just like Vex said, the Nintendo fan base itself is just, they are always a bit behind compared to the rest of the gaming scene, if it's about features and everything. Everything that the Donkey Kong game has shown, that was sort of revolutionizing, that people say, Astro Bot had everything about that.
Yep.
As an example, nothing of what they've shown was revolutionizing. It was just Nintendo games catching up to the competitors.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's how I viewed it. Yeah, and I'm agreed. It's fine for Nintendo to be doing that. I guess I just needed to hear from other people. It's like, am I going crazy? Because I don't see how this is like so much better than the games we've already been paying $60 for. But okay.
It's not. Just get Astro Bot for $60 rather than Donkey Kong for $80.
Okay, but here we have a game that I drop $150 on. It's Metroid Prime 4. I've been waiting for this game for ages. And I'm so fucking happy it's coming out finally.
I do want to say
my
though,
God.
we don't have like an actual date. We just have 2025, which, considering there's playable demos of it, it's probably not too far into the year. But at the same time, I'm just like, how do we not have like a date on this by now? Because if it is like still being saved, this makes me think that even this could be the big holiday title. I doubt it, because Nintendo's never treated Metroid like that, but Metroid Prime 4, I mean, it looks like this more so than the last two games we talked about is like the one that's going to show how technically superior the Switch 2 is, because it is playable on Switch 1, but this is going to be able to be played in like performance mode up to like 120 FPS supposedly, and then like in 4K and quality performance, and that's kind of crazy for a Nintendo console.
Hey, Nintendo, besties, loves of my life. Can you drop this in the holidays when I have money? Thank you. I have been waiting for this game dutifully for like a fucking decade. I need this now, but also my wallet is in pain.
Well,
I'm
at
just waiting
least
for
it's
Suicune.
available on the last generation Switch if you don't want to shell out for a Switch 2.
My Switch is on its last legs at this point. I've had it since launch day.
Yeah.
Actually,
but
it does
Metroid,
remind me of something else I want to talk about.
yeah.
We'll
But
save
Metroid,
that.
I'm pretty up for Metroid myself. I cannot wait for that.
I gotta say, like, what they showed in that direct looks insane to be seen on a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
Like, that coming out in 4K, and the word 4K in Nintendo, like, don't mesh in my brain.
I think
Yeah,
we should
like
look
when I
at
was
it.
watching the direct.
We should look at it like that. For Nintendo, it's breathtaking. Compared to everything else, is bad. And I do not think we should sit here and say, oh, but for Nintendo, it's great. No, we should compare Nintendo with the rest of the gaming scene. And
Yeah, you're right. We should, because that was my other point. Because I've been seeing some people I think rightfully saying it's like, yeah, this doesn't quite look like PS5 level, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, because this Switch 2, despite being much more advanced than the base Switch that we have, it's not really even like current gen in like technicality. It's more closer to like a PS4 Pro or even an Xbox One Series S if we're being really generous.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think we should sit here and say like, oh, but for Nintendo, no, it's garbage compared with everything from gaming currently. And
Well, I mean, I never sit here and expect like Nintendo to run everything natively at 4K, 120 FPS, or even touch 8K at this point. But like the fact
Nobody
that they're
really should be
trying,
touching 8K.
wouldn't it be wild if the Nintendo Switch 2 would have been the first 8K capable console? I think I would have just
That would have
shot
been
myself.
such a waste of resources, just because it's like who has 8K like displays right now? Most games have trouble
movie
running
theater.
just like 1080p 60.
through
A theater. That is literally it. The theater is the only place that is capable of running native 8K. But like, it's so cool seeing like 4K, 120 FPS, like all these buzzwords that we've been seeing for like Sony since the PS4 Pro, being utilized by Nintendo, and it's like, oh, you caught up, Grandpa.
yeah, but like that's the thing.
Yeah.
They only work in the docks if you dock the console. If you put it out, it's
Right.
not 4K anymore. And at this point, it has to
Yeah, but
compete with everything
1080p
else.
60 is still good for like even Nintendo standards, honestly. And by even regular console standards, because like I said, some games just can't even do 4K or 1080p super well in stable frame rates. So I think what Nintendo has is like perfectly suitable for like the next couple years. Even.
I mean, I just see it like this. I think the Nintendo Switch biggest competition is the Steam Deck. The thing with the Steam Deck is it's as of now cheaper than the Nintendo Switch by a good bit. It has 1280 times 800 LCD screen, so the same as the Nintendo Switch and the Steam library. This is what Nintendo has to compete with. And the Steam has a product with just as with hardware just as good for cheaper, with way bigger library.
Well, if we even want to compare it
Yeah.
to like the Steam Deck OLED, right? We have a display that is active refresh rate of on the area of like 7.4, 90 hertz, 100 nits. You know, like these words are just buzzwords for most people, but like that's like you're right. It's literally their, biggest competitor is the Steam Deck at this point, and
until
that's
Xbox
the
comes out
thing.
with their portable.
The biggest competitors, the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is the cheapest version is just as good as the Switch 2, costs less, and you have access to your whole Steam library. At this point,
Right,
the Switch 2 is so much behind its competition that the only thing that speaks for the Switch 2 are the Nintendo exclusive games.
Yeah,
And-
but that's always been the case.
Yeah,
for
but I
Nintendo.
don't think that is a good enough argument.
No, and
True,
like,
but they do have like some third-party exclusive. It looks like because we did see Duskbloods. As well.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
will
yeah.
come later on.
what kind of weirds me out is like we don't know like what Wi-Fi capable the Switch 2 is, and if we're running at like 4K, we need to have at least a decent latency for like multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Because we already
I
know
think
like
that hopefully won't be an issue because we see that like we didn't really talk too much about it. I'm not sure if we will, but the Switch 2 like has a lot of like multiplayer functions like almost built into the system. Like the C button, for example, we finally figured out what that is. It's a chat feature. It's basically like a Nintendo Discord system. And like they have like a camera now sold separately, which can be integrated into some games for video chat. So it feels like Nintendo more and more. And then there's Game Share, where you can share your game with other Switch consoles. Like Nintendo seems to be pushing multiplayer a lot more, so I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi capabilities should be decent if they expect to be that into multiplayer, which was one of their big Achilles heels, like for the longest time. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm kind of more optimistic about that than anything because they had to have paid attention to this feature if they're going to launch with Mario Kart. Like if they launch with 3D Mario, okay, like single player games is like their thing at the beginning. Then it's like, okay, the multiplayer will be brushed out later, but they have to be good right from the jump.
Yeah, and like we saw actively as the Nintendo Network got better at this generation. Because coming from the Wii U, where it was absolute dog shit, like barely functioned at all, to the Switch, where it was like, okay, it's a little bit wonky, to now like Switch OLED generation at least, like you had good online capability. I've not had like a single problem with Pokemon. I can't say anything about Splatoon 3 because I didn't play Splatoon 3. I got into that journey at 2. But like playing ARMS, for example, or Smash Brothers on like the early days of the Switch was horrible. Like
Yeah,
the latency.
I do remember those days. But
So like
yeah, so I'm kind of think it'll be good.
Yeah. Like I
Because
find
like
and then just to weigh in on like that online feature, I hope the parental functions are good on that. More than anything.
oh wait, why?
Like
I mean, like you don't have kids, so why?
no, I don't have kids, nor will I ever have kids. I just like find it weird that like a kids oriented system is like launching with like here's Discord when you already hear horror stories of people getting groomed on Discord.
But I think that's actually why. Like, okay, here's the thing. One thing I'm usually upset with Nintendo when they do stupid stuff like let's release our own music app instead of just putting stuff on Spotify like normal people. But this, at least, I think the idea is instead of just using Discord, you know, the way Xbox just uses Discord, is the idea that, well, this is our own controlled multiplayer system, so therefore it can be more monitored for bad players effectively. So I think in that sense, I'm less worried about it because they have their own proprietary.
No, I do not.
Right.
I do not trust Nintendo with that. Nintendo. I do not think they will do a great job with what you said, Gern. With how they
See, this is where
with how
I'm
they
like
do
in the
stuff.
middle ground here. I'm in the middle ground here because
Yeah,
like
well,
I know monitoring on any multiplayer is like the most ridiculous thing ever. Because you could tell your buddy suck a dick or, you know, anything like that on, say, fucking Call of Duty and get comms banned now. But at the same time, like, I find, like, the need for moderation on a more kids oriented system a little bit higher. So I'm kind of torn in that middle ground. I know I'm not going to be able to yell, you know, fuck shit at people
on that. I would like
Mario
to
Kart.
say Nintendo's moving more and more away from just being a kids-oriented platform. Especially
Very
like
true.
the Discord chat, their version of it. It only starts being for free in the beginning. After like 1 year, you will need to have online service for it to even use that. At that point,
Yeah,
most
there's a whole button
kids,
behind
yeah.
the paywall.
At that point, kids will just go switch over to Discord rather than pay for that.
Yeah, that's
If they
more
weren't
likely.
already.
Like
Yeah, that's more likely.
Yep.
it's not going to keep kids safe. Is my point. It's just going
Right.
to be they to censor the speech and shit of everything of what's happening over there.
Oh yeah, and like
We'll see. Because I feel like if Nintendo screws up with it too much, like they're kind of undercutting like their big plan to go like much heavier on multiplayer games in their upcoming generation.
yeah, that's just like the like discussion I wanted to have around that. Like obviously most people are going to use the free service. Like if we were to make a video out of something on there, we would use Discord because like why the fuck would we use another third party thing? And like that's just a lot.
I think I think I actually do have an argument there, just because it feels like for the Switch 2 especially, almost not having NSO, like basically like any console at this point. So yeah, I can't be too mad at Nintendo for this one, but basically not having NSO or NSO Plus, whatever it's called, is kind of like wastes a lot of what you have with the system. Because number one, that button is like, tied to said paywall, but also because like it gives you like certain of the Switch 2 edition upgrades, which maybe we'll talk about for free. Like I was actually reading up on that while we're talking. Like the Zelda ones seem to be free with the NSO Plus thing, but other ones like Kirby will be paid. But you know, you get a couple free upgrades. You also get the GameCube games through that. It's not like comes just like with the Switch. It comes through the paid service, but you need a Switch 2 and the NSO to get access to those GameCube titles, and a lot of those look really good. So, you know, I feel like you kind of almost need to have it. Just like with PlayStation, you know, you're missing out with PlayStation Plus, and get Xbox without Game Pass. Self-explanatory.
Yeah, like obviously, as somebody that plays Pokemon, I have the Nintendo Switch Online premium bundle right now. Like, well, fuck it, I'll just get the premium bundle because I can pay for a full year of that. I hate this. Like, everything has to be a subscription era. I really do.
It is annoying, but I do think Nintendo, at least now, I mean, when they had it with the Switch, it felt like no one's gonna pay this much for what's so little, but now it's actually something that's worth paying a decent amount of money for.
Right.
So I think in that sense, like the group chat, like while it does feel stupid to have a button behind a paywall, a lot of Switch feature or Switch 2 benefits are just locked behind said paywall. So you might as well just have it.
On that topic, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Why the fuck is that behind the paywall? Why do you have to buy this as a game?
Yeah, I did just see like Genji post something about that where it's like, oh yeah, they confirmed it's $10. Just a reminder, Astro's Playroom is free. And it's like, yeah, that's a good point. And man, that is very sad. I was so surprised when they just said it's like you can pay for this separately to figure out how the system works.
Yeah,
because it's a cool idea, but like, is anyone gonna pay money for it?
No,
And
this
the
should
answer
have
is yes. Some people will pay.
this should have been a free demo. Every fucking Switch 2 console.
Guys, do you remember the PS Vita? They had the same goddamn thing bundled in.
Yeah, the PS5 had that. No,
Okay.
I think
It's just Astro's Playroom.
the Switch 2 is just the perfect example of how greedy Nintendo became over the time.
It really
and
is.
I guess that's a good time to like actually go into pricing, maybe as a jumping point.
Yeah.
Because like when the prices first came out, I remember a lot of people were talking about the tariffs right off the bat. But I do think that a lot of the pricing is just Nintendo saying it's like, hey, we can charge this much for consoles now. We can charge as much as a PS5 for our Switch consoles now. And, you know, that was pre-tariffs, like before they were like, oh, the US just announced the tariff rates. Okay, now we're going back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
So,
Y'all thought this was
yeah,
pretty
Nintendo just wanted to be like, and that ties into what Ann Arbor was saying about these consoles being more and more oriented towards adult, because the Switch was, well, I don't know if I want to say so cheap so easily, but it was cheap enough that parents could buy more than one for their kids if they had, you know, more than one kid and also wanted one for themselves, because it was like for like 2 or 3, especially like if you got the Lite or something, you could buy like a premium console with games on it. So Switch was definitely like a multi per household thing, but this, you are not gonna buy more than one Switch 2 for a household. This is the sharing between kids console. And I say that from a family where like me and my brother had a PSP, I had a DS, and we had to share those two individually between us. But the Switch 2 is even more so. Yeah, no, you kids are sharing this thing.
Do you think I'm made out of money? Do you think money grows on trees? You know?
I mean, in this economy, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
right.
No, for this price point, you will only have one Switch per household. It's going to be expensive, and especially with the games. Like, $60 is something that you can ask your parents, can you buy this game for me? $80 is like a limit there, but even as a parent say, no, this is too expensive to buy.
Yeah, that you can have it for your birthday. You can have it for Christmas. You can, you know, that kind of thing. You can go mow the neighbor's lawn for some money. Is that still a thing that kids do? I don't know.
Yeah, it's reached a point where even the price is so high that it's not something that parents will or are even able in this economy to say, yeah, sure, son, let me quickly grab this with you.
Let me put it on my Klarna account.
No,
I did see that tweet you posted out. I assume Bex posted it because
Yeah.
that was hilarious.
Paying for coming in clutch this console generation. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, it really is. I've been using Klarna so much, even just like for Humble Bundle titles, and that's Humble, you know, where you get games for cheap. It's like, cool, I'm gonna pay this in installments.
I'm going to finance my burrito from Chipotle.
Oh my god. No, but really, Nintendo, please let me buy your stuff in like payments. I am just like so spoiled on that idea now. It's probably not good, but you know what?
It's not.
It's like affordable.
When DoorDash is partnering with a pay in 4 plan, run.
Oh man, God. It's so over for me if that happens. I used to use DoorDash all the time, like back in like university. But now it's just like, yeah, I can just drive and get my food.
I'll DoorDash my groceries, pay that in 4, and have more meals through the week. Poverty maxing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most depressing word I've heard.
Yeah, we're
Poverty
sorry
maxing.
about like this discussion in America. Like our economy is not looking very great right now.
You are the center point of the global
Our
economy.
president is tanking our stock market because he has good strats.
Do I buy the dip or do I hold out?
You know, what's funny is like I was gonna go shopping and I was like asking my mom, say, "Hey, mom, you want me to buy like anything in bulk?" And she's like, "Nah, don't be ridiculous." I'm like, "I'm not being ridiculous, mom." And I think like the next day she did look at like her stocks and she's like, "Oh no, okay, now this is starting to hit."
I'm preparing before the 87th round of layoffs this economy.
Oh man, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so we
Kirby
should get
Air
back to
Riders.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Kirby Air
Air.
Riders.
Okay.
I did not expect
So-
this one.
Yeah, me neither. Like when Sakurai, everybody was expecting, oh, okay, cool, this is like gonna be Smash or it's gonna be Kid Icarus. Nobody saw Air Riders, and I remember like at least in the Sonic fan base, we're like, we're having Mario Kart and Kirby Air Riders in the same year. It's like, well, no one in Nintendo is going to be buying the Sonic racing game with $80 prices for these racers. So yeah, that's gonna be crazy. But also, I'm just happy Kirby Air Riders. It's like that's definitely a game that like it's because of fan demand. It's not because Nintendo actually sees Kirby as like a franchise that they can easily nickel and dime people on. Because the Kirby games come out, but they're like really cheap. So I'm expecting Kirby Air Riders to also be one of the cheaper titles on this system. But I think it'll bring something new to at least the racing genre, which is always nice. It's just kind of weird. This is 2025 is the year of racing games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's so cool too, because like Kirby, like the Dragoon shit and everything that we saw from the last generation of us, right? I am genuinely curious if like this will influence the next Smash Bros. Too, because we saw, the Dragoon can become like an overpowered like multi-tool weapon thing. I wonder if this will have any influence on that, or if we're just truly done with Smash. Because Sakurai did say that was his last Smash.
I mean, just because Sakurai says that doesn't mean they can't replace him. If it's still the same Smash as before, without Sakurai, that's for you to decide. But they easily can make another Smash game, even without him.
It's not the same without Sakurai.
Would it be as? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's for you two guys to decide. Is it Final Fantasy VII without the original director? No, it's not. So I would say so too, but others would disagree with me.
Well, those others are wrong. But whatever. But yeah, I'm happy Sakurai's still getting to do stuff, even though it's like I'm not sure if that man wants to retire or not. I feel like he's the kind of guy who likes the idea of rest, but just has so much fun, like actually like working, that he's just not gonna let himself retire. Even though by all rights, he could just like chill.
It's a Togashi effect in a way, you know, because like obviously, yeah, I could pass the torch to somebody else, but I don't want to.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, let them work if they want to work.
Yeah.
It's
But-
good if you have like actual passion for your work.
But coming to the important titles.
Dragon Drive.
Shut the fuck up.
You know
Dragon-
what's funny is I've heard people just did not like that in the playtest. It's like the one title people are like, yeah, that one's not very good.
Yeah. We are getting Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4. I know lots of
Deltarune.
people are hyped off it. I have not played Chapter 1 and 2. I literally do not care.
Well, I guess I'm the one who cares, because like what's funny is I didn't even realize how long we've been waiting for Deltarune until like people talked about it's like, man, I've been waiting my whole childhood for this, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot some of you are like literal babies on the internet, but also, it has been like quite a few like years waiting for this stuff. But
No,
yeah, I'm happy
yeah.
Deltarune's coming out.
Yeah,
Like
that
in
is
full, I think.
yeah, 3 and 4 are coming out on release day. That's pretty high. Aber that we got Silksong news. Silksong was mentioned. 2025.
Yes. Okay, so I do want to start with this one, even though like Hollow Knight's not like a game like I'm as invested as an Arbor, but like during the Nintendo Directs and other presentations, usually me and an Arbor, sometimes Vex, watch it, but this time I was the only one watching and I was just giving everyone updates. And while I was watching and just giving updates, Silksong just appeared in the sizzle reel, and I think One Smart, shout out to you if you're on the off chance you're watching, was just putting Silksong came, guys, and I'm like, yeah, it came for like 10 seconds to say 2025.
Yeah,
And I think my favorite part, honestly, of the Silksong announcements is Microsoft, like after the direct, was like, just a reminder, it's coming on Game Pass on launch day for free, and I'm like, cool. Thanks, Game Pass. You always got my back.
true. And
You
no,
always got my wallets back.
I am so
Jesus
looking.
Christ.
I am so looking forward to Silksong. This is going to be great, and this is the first thing we hear from Silksong since 2020.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been 5
I think
years.
that's the funniest part.
The funniest part is that they didn't even say anything about it. It was just randomly dropped into the center of it.
Right. Like
Imagine,
that's so.
imagine it's not being
imagine
released
that's
this year.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, imagine it's still not being
I
released this
think
year.
that and Star Wars Outlaw were like the only two things that actually like really mattered in that sizzle reel. Like Professor Layton was there too, I guess. But it's like it's Silksong, and they're acting like it's a footnote when
Yeah.
it's like the thing everybody's been waiting for.
But
Let me-
that,
let me-
funny.
Yeah, like it.
go on.
Go ahead.
I wanted to finish the section, so if you want to say something to that, go first.
It's literally the meme at this point of like no Silksong news, disappointment. You know, it's got 1,000 memes like we do with Kingdom Hearts. So seeing it get reduced to that footnote after 5 years of nothing, it just kind of rubbed me in a way that I was pissed about. But also I was like overfilled with joy because like it's actually happening. You know, I'm excited as fuck for that one.
It's just like
but I'm
Kingdom
definitely
Hearts
not
3.
gonna play it on Switch.
No. I'm going to play it on PC with my PS5 controller and having fun with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
love
me
that-
too, but through Game Pass.
Yeah. Other than that, we are getting a lot of ports, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Only the first part, not Rebirth.
I'm sure the
Yeah.
rebirth will come.
I would have
at
thought they're
some
just
point.
going to
Yeah.
release them both together, but not piece by piece. I think that's kind of dumb, in my opinion. Just release both games.
Eh, I guess, but they might as well just at least like. I guess they don't know if it'll like sell as well as they think, because third parties are jumping on this system after the Switch's success. But it's still like a Nintendo console, so you never really know how successful they'll be.
Yeah.
Because even the Wii, which was successful,
I mean,
it kind of died off in its later years.
we should not
I
forget
understand that.
they have the most important input. They get Elden Ring, and with that, we have Dustblood, from Software exclusive PvPvE game coming to the Switch too. So I think that high expectations for like third-party exclusives and third-party games like Elden Ring, that they make also deals with those companies.
Can
So
I just say I'm tired of PvPvE being forced into everything? Just let me play my game single player, please.
Same.
Yeah, I'm kind
That's
of the
not.
same way. But they
I'm-
find the idea funny enough that they can keep going for a bit.
I feel really skeptic about this, but I will not play it till it gets like a PC or PS5 release. I am split on it, like split fiction, about the gameplay, but it looks great. But it's not Bloodborne, so who cares? Literally, who cares?
We're getting a new Hyrule Warriors too, which I love the Musou games. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like smashing entire swaths of enemies with a big fuck off stick.
Same.
And it makes sense too because the last Hyrule Warriors I think was tied to like the first Breath of the Wild, so having one for Tears of the Kingdom makes sense. And plus, you know, with the Zelda movie coming out now officially in 2 years, they kind of need to like promote the Zelda IP more than ever. So, which is why I'm expecting like the holiday title of next year to be the big Zelda game. So I don't think we'll see any Zelda for a good while, and why we didn't see any Zelda besides that this year or this presentation.
Other than that, there's not a lot to really talk about. Like I said, mostly are just ports that there's not really much to mention. Like, who cares to talk about the legacies being released for it or like Civ 7?
I'm curious if they'll do. The
I
thing
do have
that
some
they-
stuff to say about.
Yeah, you
that.
want to talk about Bravely?
I do, but that's not really a legacy title, not just like a remake. Like, because that game was on the 3DS, and now it was stuck there for a while. So I thought, why don't we have a Switch port? The answer is because they're making a Switch 2 remake. Apparently, since the 10th anniversary of the game, they've been working on it. I'm happy about it, but I'm also a little concerned because from the announcements I've read, it's like a Switch 2 exclusive right now.
Mhm.
Which I get they made a deal with Nintendo probably for that, but I'm hoping it comes to other platforms because the Team Asano games have been more and more multi-platform, and Square Enix has been more and more multi-platform now as well because it's just more profitable that way. So I'm hoping
we already
Bravely does
mentioned
not break
Final
that.
Fantasy 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I hope Bravely comes to PC. I'm happy it's getting a remake in general,
It looks
and I
more
also
like-
am glad. And
Yeah.
this, I'm glad that it's like the one title like launching on the system that's reasonably priced because everything else is like $80.
No,
Besides, I think like Breath of the Wild, which is
We-
70,
we-
except this, which is 40.
We still need the price of Daybreak. Not Daybreak, of Duskblood, but I do not think Duskblood will be a full price game.
I won't
Yeah,
be shocked.
but
if it's
Duskblood's also
free.
not a launch title. I
Yeah.
was just specifically speaking on the launch title. But yeah, I'm hoping Duskblood is not too expensive.
I mean,
either. But
we are
either
we
way,
are getting
that one,
quickly to the price of Duskblood. From Software often just like the new Elden Ring game that we are getting costs $40. It's going to be released next month. For like smaller games, they're often taking a smaller price with. So this is what I hope for Duskblood will also happen.
With it being PvPvE, I won't be shocked if it's not free with like some sort of like gotcha mechanic. But
No. I
would-
trust From Software. They won't do gacha.
I was going to say also this being a Switch exclusive, they can't really market gambling to kids.
That's a lie. That's completely a lie. What the actual fuck? Nintendo literally does the worst gacha games of every fucking
Oh, I
company.
know. I was being sarcastic.
I just want to throw
okay, I'll be
viewers,
honest, Vex. It was kind of hard to hear the sarcasm there.
because there
on
wasn't
that
a
one.
fucking, there was not a single hint for the sarcasm. Let's be real. No. I
I'm
do.
also,
I have
like-
I have enough trust in From Software that it won't be
I'm-
like free to play with gacha elements.
I am curious like how they're going to market it though. Being PvP, you know,
Mhm.
like it's because like you have stuff like Destiny 2 where like they have the base game free and then they market like massive expansions to that. Their model for that dog shit, but they do it successfully somehow. I wonder if they'll take that route or they'll go like the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League route, where they have season passes, and we saw how well that worked out for Warner Brothers. But it'll be an interesting time to see something like that on the Switch, because we really haven't seen like a live service game or a live service S game like that be like marketed heavily like this is.
Yeah.
Um,
But like, I also wanted to say something to Bravely. It looked more like a remastered than a full-on remake, if I'm being honest. You could still feel the 3DS graphics from that game.
Oh yeah, you can, but I think that's more of an intentional art style choice
Yeah.
because, like, again, this is 3DS to Switch 2, so there's no way it's just like, a port. They had to like actually remake this thing. And plus they added a bunch of stuff like mini games and extra modes and probably some extra gameplay stuff that they haven't told us about, but that's more speculation area. So I do think it does, in a technical sense, fall in the remake category, but much like Thousand Year Door, which came out recently on the Switch 1, it looks like a remaster despite the work put into it that makes a remake. So
Alright,
yeah, I'll agree on that.
The last important game that was announced, like I'm skipping over like most of them because who the fuck cares, was Tamagotchi Plaza.
Sure.
Got like a lot of hype. Does anybody want to say anything about it? Because I can't.
Yeah,
What?
me not really either. Like Rhythm Heaven,
Tamagotchi Plaza.
I'm happy the IP is getting some love. Like, other than that, like,
Yeah, I
have
mean,
no
I
idea
will
what
say
that is.
like with Silk Song and other like games like that were announced. Like there were a lot of things that Nintendo announced that people were like, "Man, we're never getting another entry in X series." But hey, they did get something, so that's cool, I guess. That people aren't being forgotten, and that the Switch, like Nintendo, understands that there's an audience for all these IPs. Because like with Kirby Air Riders, I think was another good example. Nobody expected a new like Kirby Air Riders, but we're getting that. So I think that Nintendo has like a good like set of games they've announced in said presentation. Most of what it comes down to is that there's of course still like stuff they're keeping under wraps for later on, and to the prices, which we've kind of just been on and off again talking about.
Yeah.
Because like with I know we kind of skipped over like all the Switch 2 editions. But like with Kirby, for example, the other Kirby game that's coming is just the current Switch one, but it's getting like $20 worth of DLC being added into it. And the Mario Party game that just came out, it's getting, I think, also $20 added, but it's getting some extra mini games and like camera support, which okay, cool, because especially with the camera being cost separately. Yeah, again, it's just like there's extra content, and I'm glad that, unlike Sony's remasters, where it's just like graphical upgrades, there's at least content that justifies paying more money. But the amount of money you're paying, like at least with Sony, it's like, okay, give us like $10 and you guys get it. This is more like, okay, give us like $20, and then maybe we'll give it to you.
Yeah, like the Switch 2 Enhanced Edition stuff is coming out. Like I'm a big fan of that. I love that the camera is like a piranha plant too. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, but like there with Mario Party in particular, that is a friendship ending game, and you're adding like modes behind the camera. I'm just picturing like a Joy-Con just flying at this like overly priced fucking gimmick camera and just breaking it, like, the TVs, stuff like that. Obviously, like, there hasn't been a documented incident of the Switch like straps failing like the Wii ones, so I'm just being a smartass. But I love like they're adding content. The best that we got, I think, from Sony was the bonus mode for The Last of Us. Whereas like everything else has just been like an enhanced port where like you get like resolution upgrade, better like cutscene animations, so there's random bullshit thrown in. Here you actually get something meaty. Full expansion for Kirby, different modes for Super Mario Party. I don't think there was really any other like
Airway
examples for this one, but like still pretty cool.
But like, I think all of that we can say, of course, talk a lot about good things about the games. The games will never have a problem with the Switch. And the biggest problem literally is the price point. And I think that's the biggest part of all those games. Most of the games are just cheaper to get on PC or any other console if you have them already.
Right.
And
Yeah, and I think what makes it worse though than like any other platform, like if they announce, for example, like $80 games on Steam, for example, I'd almost be less concerned just because Steam sales exist.
yes,
But Nintendo games never go on sale. That's the problem. Like if Nintendo is
Right.
fixating on like $80 before like everyone else, like one, all these games will be $80 for the rest of their lives, and two, the other, like Vex was saying earlier, the trend chasing will be GTA 6 coming out, being like, oh, okay, well, now we can charge some extra money for real. It's not just a meme, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone and their mother will buy that god awful game. And I hate
Which
it.
then will just reinforce the fact that companies can do that.
At
Because it's
this-
like, they're not going to want to take a loss if they don't have to.
At this point, a new rule for everybody watching: if a game has less content than Baldur's Gate 3 but costs more, don't buy it. Point closed.
You had to shoehorn Baldur's Gate 3 in.
No,
somehow.
listen, sorry. Baldur's Gate 3 costs $60 and has 10 times the amount of most games that are shown in the Nintendo Direct or
Oh, I
Nintendo
know.
main games.
I'm
So
not
don't-
arguing. I just find it funny.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but no, it's I get for $60 games who have as much content as 10 games of Nintendo, but the single Nintendo game costs $80, and fuck them, their super fucking ass. This is not worth it.
So, Party Champs, as the Story of Seasons fan, how much is that game on PC?
Okay, first off, I didn't know I was the Story of Seasons fan of this, because I haven't played too many of the games. I might own some of them on my library, I think, in PC, but I haven't really played them. But yeah, I'll pull up the Steam page if you want. Apparently, do you mean like the new one that's coming out? Because like Google gave me the Friends of Mineral Town first,
Grand Bazaar.
which is like an older one. Which
It's
one?
Grand Bazaar.
Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, Grand Bazaar. Let's see. Do they have a price point? They have a Steam page. No, they don't have
Story
a
of
price point
Seasons.
yet on the Steam page. Just that's
Nope.
coming out in August. Can't pre-order
Rip.
yet. It looks good though, I will say. I'm not sure if you were thinking that because I was mentioning Fantasy Life earlier, which surprisingly didn't get mentioned in this direct, but I think that's because it was in the Switch 1 direct. But yeah,
yeah.
Story of Seasons, like I not a series I'm too familiar with. I've just owned some of the games that I haven't really played yet.
I got the two mixed up, but also like I know that you had them in your Steam library.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, that's fair. You would think I would play some of the games I own, but actually,
No, I
Yeah.
literally made like
Actually,
I made a whole fucking Steam page with just games that they have yet to finish, and it has like over 40 games in it.
oh, I definitely have more than 40.
And to be fair,
Same.
I started playing that. I started playing those games and already finished with one of them. I'm
Okay,
not
good for
working
you.
on my backlog. I'm proud of myself.
Wow.
No,
one,
you should
one
be.
last
That's like not even.
one last, and you'll buy like 6 more games in the next 6 months.
No,
The
no.
curse of a PC gamer.
I only get Expedition 33 and the Elden Ring game. Nothing else.
Well, at least with Expedition 33, that's I can play through Game Pass. I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly.
Because I have a lot of April games actually coming out that I plan on playing, but
I'm
so
getting it on
Expedition
Steam.
33, I'm like, oh, thank fuck for Game Pass.
I'm getting it on Steam as everybody should.
I mean, I will eventually, because it's not like Expedition 33 is going to stay on Game Pass. But then, I can pick it up for cheaper later.
Yep.
No, but like,
Other than that, like,
Yeah.
we got Pokemon CA as like the
wow,
other big one here.
who cares? Anyways,
What's funny is I was watching like a video that was going over. It's like, okay, you guys know like all the bullshit Nintendo's still like pulling with these games, because it's like the active battle stuff is cool. Like it's great that they're doing more and more. It's like this is how it would be in the anime. So let's try to like incorporate some more interesting battle mechanics. But like in terms of like the technical aspects, like even if it's on the Switch too, like it'll probably run better. But the actual like design of the game is still very, very cheap for some reason, and you can tell when you like really look at the buildings and
Oh,
like
yeah.
the details or lack thereof of the game.
Light,
So that
sorry,
just makes me go, man.
sorry to interrupt.
It's-
Kind, Switch 2 is a ripoff, but I'm addicted, so I will get it day one, Ufu.
Yep, literally.
Literally us.
There's so many people that will get a day one. I'm not getting it a day one. I'm not one dealing with scalpers, and two, like I'm sorry, this is coming out right around the same time as like the big metal festival here, so that's where most of my money's going.
No,
So
yeah, and
I haven't gotten the Switch 1. I will not get the Switch 2, especially not at this price point. Just get the Steam Deck
think
and
my
be
thing-
happy.
I think my thing is that what I did for this Switch, because I didn't buy a Switch either. I was waiting for like a Switch Pro or something, and then when Switch 2 is coming, it's like, oh, well, that's cool. I can maybe get that. But now I'm thinking about it. They'll eventually just probably release like a Switch 2 Pro or Lite or something that's either going to be cheaper or more powerful than this. Especially because we know that this screen, and Arbor brought this up earlier, and I did want to talk about it. This screen is still like an LCD screen
Yeah.
for some reason, despite that the Switch already has like an OLED, which means this will probably get, at the very least, if it doesn't get a Pro or whatever, an OLED version. And then why would I not get that one? So there's like no reason for me to like get the system day one, because the games won't go down in price. So whatever. I mean, Mario Kart maybe will like live on for as long as it needs to, so it's not going to lose that much of its multiplayer if I pick it up later. And there's just going to be better Switches and better bundles and better deals. Like the only reason I would have gotten it would be because of Bravely coming like exclusive as a launch title, but you know, given the current economics of the world, that's still just not a smart move.
right, no, that's exactly where my mind's at. Like I can make more lasting memories, you know, getting thrown around in a fucking mosh pit than I can, you know, playing Pokemon CA in 4K. That's just how my brain is working right now.
No, the Switch 2, as of now, is literally not worth it. And like Pageant just said, like for Bravely or like Vex, Vex has Metroid 4 and Pokemon. Like, I think for a console, buying it for 1 or 2 games is not worth it. You should at least
Exactly.
get like 10 games or something to get your money worth of it. And as of now, what we know of, we do not have enough games to make it even nearly worth it. And I do not think that
Yep.
it will become better in the future, with most of those games most likely getting a PC port or like another console port. In terms of if you don't give me a PC port, I'm literally going to find Miyazaki and I'm going to slap some sense back into him.
I'm really hoping that's not going to be a Switch like exclusive, Switch 2 exclusive, I should say, because like Dustbloods. I mean, I'm not even like a huge FromSoft guy, but I'm used to FromSoft games like even looking better than what we saw with Dustbloods, just like on a graphical technical level.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just because, you know, it's still, the Switch 2 is not the most powerful thing ever, even if it's
No.
decently competent now. So I think a lack of a PC port was such a waste.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it literally looks ugly for their comparison. Like, this looks like Bloodborne, when Bloodborne was released. Like a bit high resolution, but that's it.
Yeah, which,
Egg
I mean,
looks better.
Bloodborne's cool, but it's definitely an old PS4 game.
It was a launch title of the PS4.
Yeah, that's right.
The advertisement of it. It's Bloodborne is not optimized for PS4. It's like a badly aged in comparison. But like Dustblood will most like if the Dustblood will be an exclusive, it will suffer the same fate.
Oh yeah.
And
For
I
sure.
don't want to see that happening.
Yeah, like other like standouts for me, just going through this list, like Daemon X Machina is getting a sequel called Titanic
I'm
Scion.
surprised about that. I didn't even know the first one even did well.
It didn't really sell well on the Switch, I don't think, but once it got like cross-platform support, it did decently well. Enter the Gungeon 2. Obviously, like roguelikes are like super fun. Enter the Gungeon was an amazing game. obviously Hades 2 here. I'm curious, like, if Hogwarts Legacy is going to be like a port of the Switch version where they like did all the workarounds, or if it's going to be like an actual port this time. Like, obviously that game pirate it first, but it's being teased with like the mouse controls, which like we didn't even talk about the fucking mouse.
Yeah, based on what I've heard, apparently the mouse functions like are actually pretty decent. Where like some of the playtesters even were able to make use of it like on their like thighs, because like the Nintendo rep said, yeah, you can do that, it'll work, and apparently it works pretty well. But I heard that like for certain games like the basketball one, the wheelchair basketball game, it still like kind of is weird to use like over time, because if imagine when you use a mouse you just kind of use it functionally to scroll and click things, but when you're using it aggressively in gameplay, that your muscles aren't meant to move that way. So
Right.
yeah, I think it's just gonna be like it's just another weird Nintendo thing, but it's good for Civ. Civ 7's like also launching on this system. Well, I shouldn't say launching because it's already like the thing, but it's getting a port on the system on launch day, and it's like great for Civ because Civ on consoles is really weird, because it's mouse and keyboard based game, but with the mouse function, it works. So I think it's great for a lot of PC games that are going to come to Switch 2 in time.
Yeah, that's one that's really got me super curious, is like how the mouse is going to actually play out. And if you're saying like it's kind of hit and miss with some titles, like we'll see if it gets developed better as time goes on.
Yeah, I think it'll be gimmicky in certain titles like Mario Party and stuff like that, but it will be useful for games like Civ. I think it's gonna be like any other gimmick in Nintendo, like the 3D feature for games that like make good use of it, like Bravely did. It was great and looked beautiful, but for other games, it was an afterthought. So the mouse function, I think, will be the same thing. Great in certain games that can use it well, and then gimmicky to annoying in games that don't.
Games like Cyberpunk 2077, it might come in handy with.
Woo!
I say, with the biggest shit-eating grin on my face. I'm very curious how this game will actually function on Nintendo hardware, because it was a launch. It was a launch originally, and then
but
obviously, like over time, it became a very great game, much better and very much worth the price of admission. I'm just curious how it will run on Nintendo hardware, because it plays really well on the Steam Deck, but like it has its hiccups.
Everything works on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is based.
Performance-wise, it's not bad. I mean, it's not like playing 120 FPS or anything, but it's like I think a solid like 30 or whatever. But then the graphics are a little muddy, but it works well enough, and I think that's what it's going to be for like the more high-performing or high-demanding titles. Like if just say hypothetically, if GTA 6 came on this thing, and I'm not saying it will. I don't even know if they had plans, but if it did, I think it would run okay on this system. Enough where it's like, okay, yeah, it's stable frame rate, graphics aren't, god
You can
awful,
effectively play
but
story mode.
Yeah.
You can play story mode. I don't know if you would be able to play like GTA Online on this.
Well, we'll see. Because I mean, the other thing I want to say about the online, even though I did kind of defend Nintendo earlier, when I saw the game sharing, or not the game sharing, the screen sharing, when like a bunch of players screen shared at the same time, the lag was crazy. I don't know if you guys ever went back and watched the actual direct, but like visually you can see the game performing at like sub 30, I think it was like 17 or something, like FPS, like while they were sharing the screens. And I'm just like, okay, on one hand, it's cool you aren't like disguising it. This is real, actual display of what this would perform like. But also, that's kind of pathetic for like a feature of like your console. It's like, man, our system's so powerful, it can handle things, and it can even share your screen with other people. But don't do that, because this is what'll happen. You can't actually play. And I don't know, like Discord, you can do that too, but at least with, like, this is an 8-bit system, right? So you would think that they would optimize their own inbuilt system more than Discord can optimize, like, every single PC and internet out there.
I was
Right.
also
Like,
um,
and with Discord, like, you can screen share at like a solid at least 30 FPS for the most part. That's
Yeah,
how
usually.
we run like the Power Rangers content that we do, like to binge all the seasons. We just screen share from YouTube.
I mean,
love Shion.
about the lagging. Have you guys seen what happened to the Nintendo of America live stream? Like that was
No.
horrible from what I
sure.
heard.
Let's talk about that.
Like the picture froze during the live stream, during one game, but like you can still hear the audio continuing.
That's
So-
hilarious.
So a lot of people just went to the UK live stream one, and it was hilarious. Though how
Oh, okay.
horrendous.
So yeah, that's exactly what I did. I didn't mention it like while I was live tweeting, but there was a time when I had to like switch over to the UK live stream.
Yeah, no, a lot of people
That's
did that.
crazy.
No, it was
Yeah, I
horrible.
found that afterwards. I thought it was my fault. Like, oh man, my stupid internet had to go down like in the middle of this while I'm trying to update the guys. And then I went and just found a new stream. I think that's when like One Smart was like started posting because I was like falling behind. But yeah, no, that was hilarious. That it's like, oh, that was everybody. Good job, Nintendo. But whatever. Not.
We're getting.
I think it was. I thought you were talking about when they were displaying like the Treehouse streams, because like the chats there were just filled with people saying like, Nintendo, you can't. You have to change the price. And then like a few days later, Nintendo's like, okay, we're gonna stop pre-orders on America to increase the price because of tariffs.
Dude, the comments
Right.
of it
Pure
like
irony.
being, they made it political with the tariffs. Talking about the tariffs.
I want to strangle people over the internet. How do you not understand how a tariff works in 2025? This was basic econ.
I mean, you say that like our president understands how tariffs work.
I want off this crazy ship.
Don't worry, I'm going to laugh at you being on the ship.
I got
And if
4
the ship
years
is-
of this shit.
And if the ship is sinking, I am here to laugh at you.
Wait, hold on. I have to correct something that Beck said, because did you not hear that our president is looking into loopholes? Loopholes to this 22nd Amendment, which, for those who don't know, in America, President Washington, out of his own volition, our first president said it's like 2 terms is good enough, and every president after that did by the honor system to not run for more. But after FDR, due to circumstances of people dying and him having to take office for 3 terms, Congress decided, okay, we're just putting 2 terms into the law just to be safe. And now we might face a time where that amendment is gonna go bye-bye. And if that amendment dies, what other amendments are on the table to get rid of?
All of them.
The
All of
rule
them.
law means nothing anymore.
We got a president ignoring federal judges and sending citizens to a fucking El Salvadorian prison and looking into loopholes to be a fucking god king.
But
Mhm.
it sounds like an American problem. I'm just here laughing at you fuckers dying over there. As you deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
our
yeah,
puppet
you're probably
president is. Our puppet president was trying to mingle in your fucking politics too, dickhead.
I don't know what you
I
mean,
mean, the
I'm
funny
Russian.
thing is, I
My
feel like
president
every
won your
one of his
election.
mingling has like backfired.
Max, I am Russian. Putin won the American election. I don't know what the problem is.
I hate you so much.
I am literally the worst person alive.
No, that one's a little bit more orange. What's one more watch list? We got Project
Yeah,
007 coming. And I'm very, as the resident James Bond fan, I'm very much looking forward to IO making a James Bond game because they did wonderful with Hitman. But that'll be fun.
Yeah, so
And we
I
also
think-
have Split Fiction coming.
Split Fiction already came out like on
And-
Steam and to great success from what I saw.
Oh yeah, it sold like millions pretty quick, and I gotta say that surprised me because like I thought it really wasn't advertised super well. Like the game itself looked good, but I thought I hear about it every now and then. But
No, it's
this game will
simple.
probably go under the
No,
radar.
that was
and it
was
sold
genius.
millions.
It was genius. Live streamers picked because live streamers love the first game, so of course they jumped all on that shit and made free advertisement for that. It would be dumb to make to put ads for this game.
I mean, like,
I mean, you know what, you
literally,
might have a point.
literally, look who made it, and then it already sells, like crazy because of the name attached to it. Because he became a meme overnight with the fuck the Oscars. So why
Yeah,
not?
I mean that was really fun. I love that meme. Plus, his last game did win Game of the Year, so I guess that did also give it attention. So I'm glad the game's doing well. But I guess coming to Switch 2 is also a good thing. One thing I will find weird is I've been hearing that there's like talks about making it into a film, and I'm like, okay, if that's true,
Taking
let's
it too
calm
far.
down.
I think we should make it
Literally
into a
taking
film.
it too far.
We should put we should
Yeah,
turn every IP into a film, into a movie. Let's go.
let's go. Let's make it all memes. That'll sell tickets. Anyway, so do we have any other like games we wanted to like bring up for Switch 2?
We got Yakuza 0 director's cut.
Yeah, I mean,
I-
I don't know how much they can charge for Yakuza at this point, especially Yakuza 0, because that's a really like a much older game. So I don't even know.
I'm happy that new fans will get into the series, right? I think that accessibility wise, putting like a dragon on there, would be better. Like where they are calling it like a dragon, or putting Yakuza on there would be a better way to get people invested in the franchise, even because that game was just a meme. Yakuza 0 being charged full price in 2025 is fucking insane to me, and all it's coming with is like extra cutscenes and a new mode. Like, nobody cares about like what'll likely be like 10 minutes for the games to kind of flesh out the story a little bit more and throw an extra mode to it for full price. It's crazy to me. I'm happy for new fans. I'll watch the new cutscenes on YouTube because I'm sure someone will throw a goddamn Elgato on their Switch 2 and record them. Or we'll get like some sort of like update for the Steam version. That was cool. Ukulele getting a remake of a remake. Don't get that one.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I think we said a lot, everything that we could say about the Switch 2. To summarize everything, our opinions maybe in one sentence. Mine would be, don't buy it, it's too expensive. Get yourself a Steam Deck.
Yeah, so my take is that I'm glad Nintendo at least now has like hardware that's capable in our current modern times. I kind of hate like everything else like financially tied to it, but I do think the system will in time be worth the price of entry. It's just not right now.
Yeah, like I will say like there's a couple other games I'm interested in seeing more from, like Synth Beast being like Monster Tamer. You guys, I'm curious if Nintendo will sue a game that's coming to their own console. Wild Hearts S being a new Wild Hearts title, maybe a sequel, a remake, a remaster, or something.
Yeah, I just got the original like through a Humble bundle.
Right, same. I'm curious what that's gonna be because it was enticing. Witchbrook, I was a fan of seeing like another cozy sim being put on here because
Me too.
arguably
I
the
like
game
those
that
games.
made
They're cute.
the game that made the Switch such a success was Animal Crossing, and not having an Animal Crossing during a difficult time It's crazy to me. So yeah,
We have
Westbrook
Fantasy
too.
Life coming. Everybody should go get Fantasy.
That's true. Everybody should go get Fantasy Life on the overpriced console that you should definitely wait for.
Nah, I
That's
mean,
like
it's coming to
my-
like everything. So, like, thankfully, I'm getting it on PC. Actually, like, don't
Oh,
get it on the
exactly.
original Switch. That's like my caveat, because the performance, like, looked so bad, like on the Switch One Direct, and it's just like, how did you allow that footage? But whatever.
Well, we saw that they didn't really care about footage. So yeah, just hold off. Wait. Have fun with it though, because life's too damn short to not have some fun. I think
Yep,
that's
and
about
also
sums it
on the
up.
off chance you did want to play Mario Kart, but you're like, I'm not paying $600 something for the privilege of playing Mario Kart. Go get the Sonic Racing game instead. It's gonna be like half the price of like the base game of Mario Kart, even
Yeah.
with DLC.
That is a crazy sentence. That is a crazy sentence.
No, like
But
we
you're
don't even have
right.
the price, but I already know it's gonna be true. And it's funny because it's like like even if like I've seen so much discussion about like how much better Mario Kart is, but I'm like, okay, but you guys understand that if it was even equal to this game, that would be horrible for that game because it's charging twice as much
Exactly.
without the DLC. That's the other thing with Mario Kart prices we didn't actually bring up in this discussion, and someone brought up to me when I was talking after the direct. This is not counting DLC. Nintendo will bring DLC just like they did for Mario Kart 8. This game will be over $100 worth of content. So think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, I think we have said everything that we wanted to say about the Switch 2. And never forget,
Oh, I see. Yeah. We do have new amiibos coming for Street Fighter. So for those like classic addicts, go ahead, have fun with that.
anyway, go and bust a nut. I don't care. Have a nice evening. And go and give a trans person a high five. God, we need it in this time.
Yay! I hate you. You're right though.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.